Everybody. Nice to see you guys. My name is Gonzalo Mejia. I am a realtor based in Jacksonville, Florida. And today we are getting together with two great NABOR members, Jennifer and Bernard. So Jennifer, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Jennifer Linguidi, and I am a realtor. I've been a realtor for over, I don't know, I forgot how long, maybe 17 years or something like that. I know it's been a long time. I'm from Naples, Florida. I love Naples. It's such a beautiful place to live, work, play. So it's really great to raise a family here. And I also own another business where I help people relax and de-stress. And we have two locations and we have about 18 therapists. And that's an organic spa. It's called Purely You Spa.
Bernard.
Jennifer, I got to come check out that spa so I can de-stress, right? So
Definitely.
my name is Bernard Faithful, also a NABOR member. I am also a real estate agent. Been in the game about a little bit over a year and a half, but don't tell anyone that, please, okay? But no, I'm originally from Michigan. Been in Florida 6 years, 5.5, 6 years, and been loving it ever since. I mean, look, my skin is good. My expressions are good. I'm feeling good. The sun is doing very well with me. No more cold weather. So I'm loving every bit of it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for the invitation to join you today to discuss about this topic. I have mentioned before, I had the pleasure to be your 2024 NAR Diversity Chair. And one of the priorities that I have put in place for 2024 is to discuss a little more about some of the topics that we have not addressed as much in the past. And one of them is disabilities, particularly, not only physical, but mental disabilities. And so today we're going to talk about mental health. And I feel like there's like a stigma, like we don't like, we know it's there, but we don't talk about it. So maybe each one of you can tell us a little more. I mean, like, how do you feel about the current status of mental health in the real estate industry? Where we are? I mean, even if you have any personal experiences.
Sure. So I'm seeing a lot of realtors right now that are very stressed. And it seems as though just the way that the economy is going and just the world in general, there's so many things that everybody is worried about. And I think because there's a lot of unknowns, it is really stressful for real estate agents and then also the general public that has to deal with the high interest rates and this and that. And it's, I think that that's really a challenge. And then also, I think it's tough for real estate agents right now because you have to work harder than you've ever worked before. And homes are taking longer to sell because of the interest rates. And so there's a lot of pounding of the pavement that needs to happen. And and then sometimes people can do a lot of work and then obviously not get paid. So there's so many different things. But what do you think, Bernard?
Well, Jennifer and Gonzalo, I believe that mental health is a big topic, period. Outside of real estate, inside of real estate, no type of whatever profession you're in, it's a big topic. It always been there. We just never addressed it. So if we never addressed it and it always been there, we have a big problem. We have a lot of issues that we need to address and try to figure out, not only in our profession, but today we're just talking about our profession. It's very hard. I mean, being a new agent, you deal with a lot of different things. You're trying to be that successful individual. You're trying to get those deals. But in actuality, it takes more than you just going to a listing appointment or meeting someone. It takes building relationships. It takes a lot of failure. It takes that, one of your friends buying the house from someone else.
Oh,
So it takes a lot of
yeah.
things that's going to cause you to have this stress build up because for you, you're not succeeding in a profession that you may thought you would be really succeeding and doing well in. So, I mean, and that's just a business. We haven't talked about, Jennifer, I know you have children, Gonzalo, I'm not sure about, but we're not talking about the regular life. After you get done with real estate, you got to go home and deal with, significant other. You got to deal with children. You got to deal with bills. I just met with an individual that do warranties. You have to deal with the washer and dryer not working. So it's a lot going on. And I really believe that those 2 years being locked in a house during
Oh,
COVID,
yes.
we didn't know how much it was going to affect us. And now it's starting to come around, and we're really seeing it, not only in the adults, but the children that we're around and the children that we're paying attention to. It's really affecting us.
Absolutely.
And I think something important that you mentioned, Bernard, that I think is key is that it is a human issue. Even though we're talking about real estate, and there are some layers added to the problem being in real estate compared to the other industries, but it is a human problem, and we all go through stages, of frustration, uncertainty, difficulties, but I think the issue sometimes with real estate is that it's perceived that if we portray ourselves as struggling, we're not successful. And there is that pressure, particularly in real estate and other industries too, but particularly in real estate, where success is so important. Like, creating that image of like, hey, I'm good at what I do and I can do anything, because we want our customers to feel that they can trust us. So we have to be the strong one, and
Absolutely.
and you mentioned, Bernard, like, having children, and sometimes it relates to that, when we have our children, like, oh, I need to be strong for my children, and I need to suck it up and go through this because I have to do well for my children. And we humans that have that instinct to protect, and sometimes we protect others and we forget to protect ourselves. And I think that is such a problem, particularly in real estate.
Absolutely. Jennifer, did you want to go?
Well, I wanted to say that definitely around the COVID time, I think that was really a time when I think a lot of people really developed, if they had mental health issues, they got worse. And if they didn't have mental health issues, they had some kind of thing. A lot of families were pulled apart during that time. And I think it's still causing people some struggles, right? And there were so many chemicals, I think, that people had to use during that time that, I mean, I think that created some mental health problems too, neurologically, with all the Lysol, I mean, it sounds crazy, but all of these chemicals really affect people on a cellular level. And, even strips away the skin on the hands with washing the hands. I mean, all of this stuff. I saw a lot of acne that was developed during that time with the masks, and so if people are having the acne on their face, then that's affecting their confidence. So again, there's so much to it. It's all kind of intertwined.
Jennifer, you said some interesting things. You said it separated families. And the crazy thing about that is we were all in the same house together. So we were separated, but we were still in the same house, or we had issues, but we were in the same place. We couldn't go anywhere. So how does a situation like that make a family want to hate each other or be separated from each other? And Gonzalo, it's interesting that what you said was that the fear of starting is a big fear. You just have to start, right? But the biggest fear of that is starting at a low end. Being a real estate agent, of course you want the higher end products. Of course you want the higher end clients, and you have to show it's like this stigma that you have to be the luxury real estate agent, the big time listing agent, all the above, when you can service those lower ends and be, successful in there. But it's fear of starting, and then you have the fear of starting at a low rate or a low end. And I think that's a stigma that we have, that comes to like a mental health issue or stress for a younger agent like myself, like, wow, I'm not successful, but I just had a certain amount of transactions, but I'm still not to the level that everyone else is at. I'm looking at social media and they're selling this and selling that and $1 million this and
Oh,
I'm only 300,000, like,
you
but
just said it. You just said something I think is so key. You said social media. Now,
uh,
I think women do this a lot. I don't know if men do this, but maybe you guys will have to tell me. But I think a lot of women do compare themselves to others. And I think that's the worst thing to do because everybody is definitely so different, right? And
right,
success is determined on so many different levels, so many different ways. And I think we can really work on educating the realtors to really just focus on themselves, right? To focus on their
absolutely,
own journey, their own path, because it's so different for everybody, you know.
Yeah, I think one of the flaws in our industry actually is if you look at awards and the way success has been established inside the real estate industry, mainly is based on production. It is how much, and you brought it up or not? It's like, hey, I have sold 9 houses, and then I see all these agents selling all these houses, and even from a business perspective, it is a mistake of so many agents to track success by the number of sales. Okay, I'm not gonna say names, but I can tell you something. There are some real estate agents out there who sell an insane amount of real estate. I mean, it is crazy the amount of real estate they can sell. That if you look at their bank accounts, they're as broke as it gets. But we don't know it because we're saying, oh no, you sell a lot, so you have to be successful. And then it creates the pressure, like you said, and like on you, Bernard, it's like, oh well, I need to do more because I'm not doing as good as other people appear to be doing, when you actually might be even doing better, because there might be more money left in your bank account after you sold those houses that some people has after selling 10 times what you sold. But again, and what Jennifer is saying about social media, it definitely hasn't helped. I mean, this is it's been an issue for industry, and social media has just even amplified, and it create this whole perception of oh, this is what everybody's supposed to be doing, and if you're not doing this, you're not good, and it's a problem. So if you don't mind asking, you guys, so how do you handle your own stress?
You want to go first, or you want me to?
I mean, I can go if you want me to. It's things that you do, right? And the thing that I've learned recently is accountability, right? We always say the 9 to 5, they give you the accountability of, you got to clock in, you have to do this, and you got to, we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold our thinking, our thoughts and our feelings accountable, and our actions. These are things that we can control. So dealing with those stresses and dealing with those things, even like what Jennifer said, looking at social media and comparing yourself, those things that you don't want to do. You want to be able to control your thoughts, control your actions, do the things that that results, that resolves and results, or bring you results, and continue to just grind and push forward. The biggest thing for me, though, dealing with a person that can say that, I've dealt with some depression, definitely stress, but deep down depression, I had to get back to holding myself accountable and get back down to doing the productive work, staying active, making phone calls, just get back to what I do and what I know will bring me success. And it just, what happens is it changes your thought process. It makes you don't even think about the stresses. It allows you to focus on your business. Once you start looking at other people's businesses and you start comparing yourself, and you don't look at it as motivation. You don't look at it as like, let me take something from them and implement that into my business. So I think it starts with holding yourself accountable. And that's something that has helped me out. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think time blocking is really, really important. There are a lot of different hats that I wear, and I juggle a lot of different things and children, jujitsu, and all of this different stuff. But I think time blocking is really, really helpful to me. So if I'm doing a specific task that takes my right brain, then I'm doing those things. If I'm doing tasks that I need my left brain, I'm doing that, and it's really difficult, I think, to mix the both, because it's either you're being really logical and doing black and white types of things, or you're being creative. So I really like to focus my energy on doing the specific thing that I need to do. And then also, one of the things I love is podcasts. I love learning from others that have more wisdom, that have been there, done that. And a lot of times at night when my family is sleeping, I will be on YouTube just learning or reading. And I think that is a form of meditation for me. And I'm always doing some kind of school. I'm always educating myself. I feel if you stop learning, you stop growing, you stop living. And that's my philosophy, and it's really meditation for me. So every 3 months, I do something else. I learn something new, and I love to take that knowledge and be able to help other people with it. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff, and then the cold plunge is also really great. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it is amazing. You can't think of anything else but yourself when you're doing that. And you have to change, you have to have a positive mindset in order to get through 3 minutes of that. And so when you're done with 3 minutes of that, you feel like $1,000,000, and it's awesome. So I really like that. The infrared sauna helps a lot. And then definitely getting a massage at my favorite place.
So what are your support systems? Who do you go when you're struggling too?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jennifer.
Well, that's a great question. I'm not one to let's see here, to vent, you know what I'm saying? I think that it's very healthy though. It's very healthy for people to do that. I'm very accustomed to helping others. So when I deal with stress, I almost feel like a machine. I don't know how to do it's weird. It's kind of like the roof can cave in, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just call a roofer. I've gone through so many serious even some traumatic things in life where it's been real serious. Like at one point in my life, I couldn't even walk, you know. I was on chemotherapy before over 20 years ago. So I've had serious things that have happened to me. So my threshold is different than someone who might have not had losses or, that kind of thing. So I tend to handle stress really well. And it's just a matter of having a different mindset. So for instance, let's say, I'll tell you a true story. I was selling a home. This particular home was 2021. This particular home had just gotten E. coli. The water was tested and it had E. coli in it. Well, it was supposed to close in like 3 days, and the bank wouldn't provide funds, like the mortgage, if the water has E. coli in it. So I literally had to just make it happen, and rather than let this fall apart, I secured the water company, but I had to make sure it was the right water company because I could not have this go wrong. I had to have it remediated, tested, remediated, tested again so that it could be done. A tree had to be removed literally in the final hour, same property. I couldn't, I could either be like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Like, call people, like, no, I just had to make it happen. So I, found the specific company that could assist with that, had it done. And these are the things that you just have to do. So when you have obstacles or challenges, I think that come at you, you just have to have the solution mindset. So, okay, just take it as it is. Like you're writing on a piece of paper, like, okay, roof caved in. Okay, now what? So taking the emotion out of it will just allows people to be more solution oriented, to just get it done and checked off the list, so.
I agree, Jennifer. I have something that I think will relate to everyone, right? I really don't have a go-to to help me with that stress. The reason being is I am the strong friend. I am the oldest child. I am the first to do all these things, go to college, get a degree, move away from home. So people are looking for me and towards me to help them out when it comes to stress and situations. So I have to tap into other things, and other things is more like praying, like Jennifer said, meditating, and basically getting the job done, right? I mean, I'm not saying that's healthy, but I think we all just say, hey, we just got to keep going, keep pushing, get the job done. This is why we got this therapy thing that's blowing up now, because we really all need to speak to someone. We all need to be heard. Even if it doesn't, solve the issue, we need to be heard about the issue. And that's just me. I mean, I think a lot of people are the strong friend. A lot of people is the person in the family that everybody go to. So then once that happens, who do you have to go to? What do you have to go to? So, I mean, those my things. Try to pray about it, meditate, and get through it.
You just gave me an idea. Maybe we should have some kind of support group for realtors, for them to bring whatever struggles that they're having, that they may want help overcoming it. That might be something like a Zoom,
Yeah, I think we'd need a stadium for that, because I mean, a lot of people will chime in and participate and benefit from that. My question to you guys is this: as a whole, I know individually we, have our own stresses, we do certain things to get over it, but as a whole, the industry, what are things that we can do for each other to make sure that these things are not happening? These younger agents are not stressing. No one's afraid to call another real estate agent or mortgage person and afraid to get cussed out, or no one answering the phone, or things like that. And we earlier, before we started the conversation, I went over those topics. And a few things that I have that we as individual, as an industry can do to eliminate what's going on is simple. We just don't do it. The things is love. How many times we talk about love? Love is very important. Loving on each other.
I gotta tell you something.
I'm
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
You want me to go, or you want to go?
No, keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
I'm just going to
So,
write this down so I don't forget.
And I apologize, Gonzalo, but this is a great topic, man. And I just want to say it. So love, we need love. That's the world. But let's start in the industry. We need to start loving on each other, no matter the color, no matter the race, no matter the language barriers. We need to show love. With love comes respect. Just simple things, respecting each other. Respect is An agent may even call you and stutter and don't know what they're talking about. Just respect them. Show respect that they, help them out. Uplift. I don't see a lot of agents. I see a lot of agents doing, having teams and things like that. In those teams, I don't see a lot of uplifting going on. It's an agent that's on that team that may not be doing those $1 million listings or sales. Well, they need uplift still because I know they're trying. I know that, they're waiting on opportunities and taking advantage of situations. Continue to uplift each other. And the biggest thing to me, and this is why I put it towards my success as an agent, is communication. Right now, we are communicating about an issue that a lot of us deal with and a lot of us can relate to. Communication, communication, communication. Talk about it. Speak to others about situations. You say you have open door policy, keep that door open because I want to come in and talk to you. That's it.
Awesome. Well, when you said love, it just made me think of this book that I think everybody
I
should
love
read.
you too, Jennifer.
There's this book called written by Jay Shetty. Has anybody ever heard of him before? I believe it's called How to Love. Now, everybody I think feels like they probably know, but yeah, everybody needs this book. Honestly, it is such an amazing book. It will help people on every level to understand how to demonstrate caring for someone and loving and how to receive it. And I mean, it's really good. So Jay Shetty. And then another book that I think realtors should get is Boundaries. That's a book that should be read for sure.
Yeah, I would say
Gonzalo.
a really good books. Talk about books. Brené Brown has some really good books regarding empathy, and if I because she's called a shame a specialist, and it gets confusing because people think, oh, shame is it a bad thing, but it's really about how to create real empathy. So Brené Brown, it's like Renee with a B, Brené Brown. She I have probably read every single thing that she does, but because you're right, Jennifer, something that most humans lack is a better understanding of how to connect with each other. And sometimes we confuse emotions, and we confuse what is hard to read. And actually, one of the favorite books of hers that I have is called Atlas of the Heart, because what it does is kind of like an encyclopedia of feelings, and something that is covered is how there are some feelings that look very alike, and you think that they're almost the same when actually they're almost the totally opposite. And if we don't learn how to recognize those different feelings, it's hard to connect with people. And empathy actually is one of the things that I've been trying to learn the most about, because we all want to be empathetic, but we don't know how to do it properly. Okay, like if somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, a loved one just died," what comes natural to most people is like, "Oh, everything will be okay." Everything will be fine. And we think that we are making the other person feel better when actually we're making the other person feel worse, because we are not recognizing how difficult the moment is. And like, and I like how she put it. It's like, when you kind of like, when somebody's going through a hard time and you're like, oh, hey, everything's going to be fine, just be strong, make it through. The way she presented is like, if somebody fell on a hole and you're from the top looking down and saying like, hey, everything will be fine. Once you get here, I promise you that you won't struggle. Where real empathy is going down the hole with them and lifting them up and help them to get to the top. So, because we tend to do that, hey, it will be fine. Okay. They just get over it. Everybody goes through hard times. Once, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But in the meantime, the person is going through a tunnel by themselves. And that's the real struggle. So how can we go with them through that hard time by their side instead of waiting for them at the end? And that's one of the biggest challenges when somebody comes to us and is going through a hard time, is how to react to it.
Yeah,
But
I think the big thing
go
is
ahead.
I think the big thing is putting yourself in their shoes, really feeling what they're feeling if they had a loss, just really connecting with them on that level. And then when you put yourself in their shoes internally, you can really think about then how best to help them. I think is really good. What was the name of that lady? Brenna, you said? Brenna Brown?
It's Brene, B-R-E-N-E, Brown, like the color.
Okay.
Yeah, she has a lot of books. I've read almost all of them. And Atlas of the Heart, actually, it is also an HBO special. So if you don't want to read the book, she does like in chapters on HBO. She has, I think it's a 5-episode series where she covered the whole book one by one.
Nice. There's another book too that I think would be really good. Like, let's say if there's a realtor that's listening to this that had a tough upbringing or something like that, or was in a situation that wasn't really great, they could benefit from reading a book by the name of The 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements. It's a small book, and that's another really good book.
I think if you guys go ahead and close it out now, we're at the last 10 minutes here. So I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to give you a time update.
Thank you. Yeah, because I think, and I think we mentioned this earlier, probably one of the biggest challenges, like I said, not talking about it, and kind of like from what Bernard was saying earlier, like, hey, I'm the one that people come to, and it's like, and it kind of like, again, that perception, I have to be the strong one, like, so who do I go when everybody's coming to me? And it is a challenge. And I'll tell you, actually a podcast, and Jennifer was talking about podcasts earlier, one that is specific, but actually it makes you understand much better about the struggle, because in one of our previous conversations, we're talking about the loss of a loved one, and how that can be such a struggle. So Anderson Cooper has a podcast. It's called All There Is, and it is about dealing with grief. And I tell you, one of the biggest challenges with grief is, again, that people don't talk about it. And it's expected that you navigate through it on your own. And something that I discuss a lot of these podcasts, and I tell personally, for me, has been extremely helpful, is how important it is to let it out and to talk to somebody, because it just builds up. It builds up and it needs to have an exit. And sometimes we tend to just feel like, oh, like I'll get over it. And if we don't take the time to grieve, it catches up with us one way or the other. So at least that also has been a great resource for me.
That is such a good point. And I think too, when people don't get it out, however they need to, it gets stuck. Like the energetic whatever gets stuck. That's when they start developing pain. That's when, diseases occur. I mean, it's really, there's a correlation also between people that have mental health problems and have also health concerns. So there's this saying, issues in your tissues. You got the issues in the tissues. So when you have the mental health issues, if you don't get those mental health issues out, it's just going to get in the tissues. So.
Yeah, my grandmother passed earlier this year, and it was hard for the family. And, I took it kind of hard, but it's so much, like I say, I'm the strong one in the family. I'm 6'3", 260 pounds, right? I don't need to be, you're not told that you should show your emotions and cry and do all these things, even though it's a close relative. So what I did was, and I didn't know I needed to release anything, I wrote a post. It was a letter, basically, a post to my grandmother. And I was going to post her picture, say, I miss you, and leave it at that. Well, that didn't happen. I was writing the post and I just bust out crying. Like it's one of those times where you like crying and all this stuff is coming out. You like, how do I stop it? Where is it coming from? I didn't know I had it in me.
That's good.
You know, so how many people are like that though, that don't get that opportunity to release that grief, you know? And it was a release. I didn't know I needed it though, but that situation allowed me to release. So we got to find situations or times where we can relieve, even though when we don't think we actually need it.
That happens a lot too when people get massage sometimes, like if they're dealing with the issues, but they haven't quite processed it. A lot of times that can trigger, you know, really releasing it, which is really healthy. That's awesome. I'm like really impressed, Bernard, that you shared that. That's awesome.
Hey,
I'm gonna share that they cry. I think that's awesome.
I'm a seasoned man. I'm very changed, right?
You know, I think that when you can be vulnerable, that's when you can grow in every area of life. Yeah.
I hope it start growing in my bank account, you know?
Every mental. You got this. You got this.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I think this has been a great conversation. I do appreciate both of you with your candid conversations and, you know, being open to discuss about the topic, because I think that's step number one. Step number one is let's talk about it. And you said, and like Bernard, you said it, and the moment that I said it, like it was that weight off your shoulder. And so we need to create those spaces for ourselves and for the ones who we care, and find those, you know, opportunities to really share and to say that it is okay. Like we always say, it is okay not to be okay. Let's don't pretend we have to be perfect. Let's don't pretend, you know, success means that we are somehow superhumans that have no emotion, feelings, and struggles. I think success is being able to accomplish all that while still dealing with the struggles. And that's actually what makes us very human. So thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to, you know, hopefully guys meet you in person in the future and getting together.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time as well. Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good day. Happy holidays.
Same to you.